Hang on, Mr. Douglas. Yeah.
And we are at it again. Welcome back, everyone, to our exploration of the excerpts and beyond of Ingo Swann's Secrets of Power, Volume 1. Today our discussion circles around Chapter 12 of Ingo's book, the chapter entitled The Ongoing Dichotomy of Individual and Societal Power. This particular chapter I have a lot of underlines in. Ingo does do a really great job of saying what he's going to say, he then says it, then he says what he just said. With this particular chapter, he makes the point of saying, hey, look, we are presented with this supposed duality, right? We have this duality where it's either you're going to focus on your individual power and have individual power, or you're going to focus on societal power and boost up societal power. And the two are opposed to each other in some kind of constant yin-yang battle. And to be sure, there's plenty of evidence for this supposed dichotomy, and the dichotomy does play out in our experience, so it's not like it doesn't have weight, particularly in that individual powers, he says, don't get to just kind of bubble up on their own. We do not exist in a society that says, yeah, go ahead, we're going to support your natural unfoldment of powers however they may express themselves. Now, what we have is a society that says, hey, fit in, make money, go to work, be a functional part of society, thus supporting and contributing to societal power as opposed to the individual unfoldment of the individual's power. However, this third piece of the puzzle, which sits above these two opposing positions, this larger thing, Ingo says, consists of human power per se, from which both individual and societal power download. Per se, as far as I can see, is another way of saying given as primary, first in line when it comes to anything else following. You got to have this before you can have anything else. Ingo continues, if human power per se did not exist, then neither would the power dichotomy that has been formed within it. And this is a very nice preamble into the excerpt from Chapter 12. Let's give it a listen. The existence of per se human powers. The term per se is defined as by, of, or in itself, or oneself, or themselves, intrinsic. Modern philosophers, however, have generally preferred to use the term intrinsic, which is more glamorous. It can be taken as referring to some kind of obscure or inscrutable metaphysical situation whose essence cannot be discovered, and so is not available to physical measurement and quantifying. Nonetheless, intrinsic is a perfectly good term and is defined as inner, inwardly belonging to the essential nature or constitution of a thing, as distinguished from its outward appearance. As to discovering the existence of the intrinsic third thing which enables individual and societal power to download and come into collective existence, well, one is ultimately obliged to note two factors. One, that if human powers do not exist per se, intrinsically or outwardly, then, two, it stands to reason that neither individual nor collective societal power could come into existence in any format. Okay, yes, and I have to agree with Ingo. I think philosophers made the right choice in picking intrinsic. I think intrinsic is a little bit more palatable, a little bit more understandable, a little less like someone is repelling people out of the bar by saying per se all of the time. But here is this point, this first thing that actually turns this dichotomy into a trinity. Because human powers exist as primary. They are there. If they weren't there in the first place, there would be no individual empowerment or collective societal empowerment either. So it's there. It's already there, within. downloaded into the species entire. And like I had said earlier, Ingo does a great job of saying what he's going to say, saying it, and then saying what he just said. And to quote further from Chapter 12, if power per se is not first to be found within our species, then it will also not be found in the individual or within any societal power mishmashes. Mishmashes makes me think of mashed potatoes with marshmallows. And I mean specifically like the sweet potatoes with marshmallows in them, with maple syrup, maybe some green apples. Ooh, yeah. Therefore, the idea of our species and its intrinsic power nature is worth quite a bit more than a mere bit of biological nomenclature. Quite a bit more significance than per se might imply. Yet another way to lift the veil a bit and peer under the curtain. We are presented with this idea that you are either going to be some sort of spiritual mystic on a mountain, foregoing pursuit and enjoyment of anything that society has to offer, or you're going to dip your toes and sink into the corpo world of cash and assets and business battling and everything that materialism has to offer. But really, all of that stems from the fact that we have power to do so in the first place, and that they are not, in fact, opposites, because they both come from a singular source. And to reference Ingo's other book that I'm listening to now, Resurrecting the Mysterious, he makes this point yet again. He says, we are presented with this idea that spiritual pursuits and physical world pursuits are directly in opposition to each other, when in fact they absolutely are not. Any spiritualist worth their salt, as they experience the finer and finer levels of reality, will come back and tell you, oh yeah, this is all actually finer and finer levels of the same thing. We're swimming in it. It's not separate. So don't hate on yourself for wanting to enjoy the physical world and all that it has to offer. Keep in check that to lose yourself into your passions will pull you away from pursuing that upward path. But I'll be the first to tell you, go and enjoy that bag of chips. You are here in this world to experience this world. The question is how best to experience it so that you can gain as much enjoyment and experience from it while experiencing the upward, spiraling path to your personal power unfoldment. And for me, it's a windy path, I gotta tell you. Those Tostitos Hint of Lime chips, boy, they get me. And recently, just like the basic potato ruffle with sea salt, food. Food is good. Enjoy it. And here I am touting junk food, as they say. But there are ways to enjoy a nice potato chip that isn't junky for you. They make them, and you can make them yourself. I got a crinkle cutter from Amazon. It's like $10. Cut your Yukon Golds nice and thin. Pop them in the oven, 425, 15 minutes if you season the pan with a little olive oil. And you got yourself, a nice snack. No, they're not going to have the juiced up to 11 factors that only appear in factory-made fast food. Another thing, I don't know if I mentioned it before, fry cutters. Get yourself a fry cutter with, again, super cheap, Amazon, 15 to 17 minutes. And to get them crispy, I use a little arrowroot. Ooh. Season them to your liking. Dill, little paprika, garlic salt for sure, some pepper. So there are ways to enjoy all that this physical experience has to offer in better and more optimal ways than simply accepting what is readily available to be shoved down our throats. And it's understanding that dichotomy, you either have to only eat broccoli or enjoy your McDonald's every day. Like it's hey, that's not it. It's not either or. And again, everyone's spirally trip upward, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to taste a little different for everybody. Remember that we would not even have this presented dichotomy, which, in my personal opinion, is a wonderful way society likes to exert control over our frames of mind, to limit our ability to understand that this presented dichotomy is in fact coming from a singular source. That source is our innate power. And the more we start there, rather than from this presented dichotomy, the more our world and our options and our opportunities open up to us. At least they do for me when it comes to potato chips and fries. Yes, it's chilly where I am, so I want food. I hope you're doing well wherever you are, and the temperature is comfortable, and your fries are full of flavor. And hey, you know what goes great with a little snack? Enjoying the audiobook version of Ingo Swann, Secrets of Power Volume 1, narrated by yours truly. Link will be in the description. Find it on Audible. Visit my website, mrdouglas.com, mist3rdouglas.com, and absolutely visit ingoswann.com to swim in some very wisdom-filled waters, ingoswann.com, for your spiraling path upward. All right, looking forward to the next one. Who knows what foods we'll discuss then. Until next time, more deliciousness and more power to you. And thanks for hanging.